Hello and welcome to Computology Academy, and today we are going to discuss about the Shishunag dynasty and the Nanda dynasty. This is the series going on for the BPSC exam, and this is going to be quite important topics because in the history question, in the BPSC question paper, you will find various questions which are related to the ancient history, and that ancient history is not related to only Bihar, but it is related to India, and that is why these topics are going to be quite important for the UPSC exam as well as for the other civil services exam, right? So watch the video till the end. It is going to be quite informative and you will find various informations which are going to be very important for you. And here we will discuss today the Shishunag dynasty and the Nanda dynasty. So if you have not subscribed the channel, then subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new videos. So here Shishunag dynasty was established by Shishunag. He ended the rule of Haryanka dynasty after killing Nagdasak. Nagdasak was the last ruler of Haryanka dynasty, and after killing Nagdasak, Shishunag shifted the capital of Magad from Patliputra to Vaisali. So he shifted the capital from Patliputra to Vaisali. So if there is a question that where does the capital of Magad Empire was during the reign of Shishunag, then you should go on to answer that it was Vaisali, because most of the students will get confused between Vaisali and Patliputra, and there is the possibility that they may commit the mistakes of marking Patliputra rather than Vaisali. So keep in mind that once upon a time during the reign of Shishunag, the capital city of Magad was Vaisali, right? And he further increased the extent of Magad Empire. So if we see, then there were 16 Mahajanpadas, and since then the Magad Empire started to come to prominence, and Magad Empire was expanding at the expense of the other empires which were there in the region. And here Magad Empire was expanded further by Shishunag, and his biggest achievement was the victory over Avanti. There was a long-standing rivalry of more than 100 years between Avanti and Magad, and here Bimbisar had already concluded a treaty. Thereafter Ajatsatru had also tried to defeat Avanti, but he was also unsuccessful. But this defeat of Avanti was the biggest achievement of Shishunag, right? And if we go on to talk further, then he also won and assimilated the Vatsa Empire. And where does the Vatsa Empire was? The Vatsa Empire was in the region of present day Allahabad, and he again defeated Kosala Empire also, and he merged that also in Magad Empire. So basically Shishunag was not having any kind of treaty or any kind of marriage alliances, and he was not belonging to the Haryanka dynasty, so he was not forced to respect the treaties and the marriage alliance relationships which were there previously between the Haryanka dynasty rulers of the Magad Empire and the other empires which were existent over there during that period. And that is why he defeated Vatsa, Kosala, Avanti and assimilated them in the Magad Empire. It is like what was the border treaty which was signed between the British Indian government and the Tibetan government, that is not being respected by the Chinese government of present day, because they say that the Tibetan government was not a legitimate government to sign any kind of treaty with any foreign power, and that is why we are not going to respect that border treaty which was signed between the British India and the Tibetan government, and that is why they go on to claim the Aksai Chin and the Arunachal Pradesh region, and they say that the border is disputed. The same thing was the situation between the Sisunag and the other emperors of that period, right? And here, under his successor Kalakos, second Buddhist council was held in Vaisali. So in total there were 4 Buddhist councils which were held in India under the different rulers and in different regions. We will go through that topic in the art and culture section in detail, but here Kalakos was the successor of Sisunag, who was not so able ruler, but he was close to the Buddhism, and he had organized the second Buddhist council which was held in Vaisali, because at that very time Vaisali was the capital of Magad Empire, right? And that is why it was the location of organizing the Buddhist council. However, don't get confused that the second Buddhist council was held by the ruler of Vajji Empire or the Lichvi kingdom, right? It was held by organized by the Magad Empire rulers only. Only the location was different because they had shifted the capital, and the rule of Kalakos was not so long. It was short-lived because he was not so able ruler. He was not so efficient. However, he was the legal heir of Sisunag. That is why he had success. He was the successor of the Sisunag, and after him, the throne was usurped by Mahapadmananda. So who was this Mahapadmananda? Again the question arises, from where does this name surfaces? So if we talk about the Nanda dynasty, so Mahapadmananda had usurped the throne from Kalakos. He killed Kalakos and usurped the throne, and he established the rule of Nanda dynasty. He founded the Nanda dynasty, and it is said that he belonged to the lower class, and in the popular saying, in the hearsay, it is said that Mahapadmananda was born out of the relationship of Sisunag with a Sudra woman, and because of that Mahapadmananda was from a lower class. However, his father was a Kshatriya. He was the ruler of Magad Empire, and that is why Mahapadmananda was of the view that he is the legitimate successor of the Magad Empire, of the Magad ruler. He should be the king of the, he should be the ruler of, he should be the emperor of the Magad Empire. However, the empire was given to Kalakos, and later on Mahapadmananda killed Kalakos and he succeeded to the throne. He usurped the throne, right? And he extended the frontiers of Magad Empire to great extent. It is said that he extended the frontiers of Magad Empire, the expanse of Magad Empire, to such a vast region that more than that, only it was done by the Mauryan dynasty. Mauryan rulers were only capable of having a Magadhan empire expanse more than this, but the second was the Mahapadmananda. He was the person who had extended the frontiers of Magad Empire to such a great extent, and he had acquired various titles also, because most of the people, most of the subjects were saying that he belonged to the lower class. So to gain the acceptability in the society, he had given several titles to himself, and one of that title was Ekarat. And what does this mean? Ekarat means the sole sovereign. he is the only ruler, he is the only having the right to rule, and all the other rulers are subordinate to him. So this was his view, and he had also acquired the title of Sarva Chhatrantak. Sarva Chhatrantak means destroyer of all the Kshatriyas. Mainly he was born out of a Kshatriya father but a Sudra mother, and he had not been accepted by the Kshatriyas as the Kshatriya. He was called as the illegitimate child of Sisunaga, and that is why he had got infuriated. He was in constant animosity with the Kshatriyas, and that is why he acquired the title of Sarva Chhatrantak, and he was going to kill all the Kshatriyas. He was of that opinion, right? And here he conquered Kalinga also. So till now Kalinga was not in the picture of the Magadhan history, but now it comes into the picture. So Magadha was conquered and assimilated into the Magadhan Empire by Mahapadmananda, and there was a rebellion after the Kosala Empire was assimilated. Kosala state was assimilated in the Magadhan Empire. Then there was a rebellion when Mahapadmananda was busy in the Kalinga war. There was a rebellion in the Kosala region, and he had suppressed it also very cruelly. And thereafter his empire extended up to the north of Karnataka. So you can assume that what was the expense of his empire, how capable he was. He had came down to the doors of Deccan region, to the north of Karnataka. So such was his capability, such a great leader, great ruler was he. And his last successor, most of the successor does not need to be mentioned in the Magadhan Empire history, who were the successors of Mahapadmananda, but Dhanananda needs a special mention because he was the last successor. वायरस की आपको ये याद है ना डायलॉग, सेकंड कौन आया कोई नहीं याद रखता है, फर्स्ट कौन आया, लेकिन एक चीज़ और याद रखना पड़ता है हिस्ट्री में कि लास्ट कौन आया. फर्स्ट और लास्ट दोनों याद होना चाहिए. बाकी अगर कोई इम्पोर्टेंट है, किसी ने वैसा कुछ काम किया, some kind of different achievements, then he will be mentioned in between, but first and the last should be known by you. That is the concept of history. So he was the last successor of Mahapadmananda, and Alexander attacked India during his reign, and he was a great conqueror. He was on the mission of conquering the whole world, and he came to India during the period of Nanda rule, Dhananand's rule. And it was said that during this period the Nanda dynasty's rule, the Magad Empire, was at its zenith. They were having a large standing army, several elephants, various kind of things were there with them. And what happened? When Alexander's army came to the bank of river Vyas, then they came to know about the might of the Magadhan Empire and its army. And out of fear of that might, they refused to cross the river. They said that भैया इससे आगे नहीं जा रहे हैं. So they refused to cross the river Vyas, and finally Alexander had to return. That was the stature, that was the might of the Nanda Empire. And Dhananand was a tyrannical ruler, very cruel ruler, and he was not very popular between his subjects. He was imposing various kind of taxes, the tax collection was cruel, the judicial system was very cruel and harsh, various harsh punishments were being given to the culprits, etc. And that is why he was very unpopular between his subjects. और जनता भड़क जाए, भले राजशाही थी, इलेक्शन नहीं था, then also if your subjects are not in your support, then it becomes very difficult to rule, very difficult to be in power. So that was the situation with Dhananand, and the advantage of this situation was taken by Chandragupta Maurya, and Chandragupta Maurya was being supported by Kautilya or Chanakya, whatever you say, both of the name is his own. So Chandragupta took the advantage of the political instability and unpopularity of Dhananand. He killed Dhananand and he captured Patliputra. Right? He killed Dhananand and captured Patliputra, and he founded the Maurya dynasty. He established the rule of Maurya dynasty over the Magadhan Empire. So here the end of the Nanda Empire or the Nanda dynasty was there. So what are the factors behind the rise of the Magadhan Empire? Time and again we go on to discuss about the Magadhan Empire. Although different kings, different rulers, different dynasties come into the picture, they are being discussed in the history. But then also what happens? The most common thing, always what remains common is the Magadhan Empire. The geographical location is same, which is the center of power in the ancient history. And what is that? That is Magadhan Empire. So there might be something because of which the Magadhan Empire, the geographical region of Magad, was so powerful and was having the capacity to come to prominence, to be dominant in the region. And here the first reason was the availability of the iron ore in the region, iron ore mines in the region. So the Chota Nagpur Plateau region, which is right now nowadays in Bihar at present time, is not in Bihar but Jharkhand, right? So from this region they were getting the iron ore from which they were making various arms, various equipments, and that is why they were capable of dominating the region. Next thing was what? Innovation. Innovation was also being done during that period. New kinds of weapons were being developed. And who was their greatest scientist? Kautilya or Chanakya. Time and again, new theorist, new economist, new scientist, whatever you say during that period, that was Kautilya or Chanakya, right? So there was innovation of Mahasila Kantak. So most of the students might have watched the movie Bahubali, and in that movie there was a equipment which was being used to throw large spherical stones, which was devastating the opposition armies. And that equipment is Mahasila Kantak. You can take the example of that, because the fictions are always inspired from some kind of reality itself, and the writer might have found this mention of Mahasila Kantak in the history books, and they would have taken out a leaf out of that, and from that they have thought of that kind of equipment. And the next equipment, next arms which was being used by Bhallal Dev, that Rath which was having a blade in front of it, which was completely muzzling out the opposition army, that was Rath Mushal. So here you will find Rath Mushal also in the Magadhan Empire's armed forces. Next is the geographical location. So the geographical location is always important for any of the empire, because the geography of any region considerably governs the history of any region. If you want to know about these things, then you can go through a book, that is Revenge of Geography, written by Robert D. Kaplan. And here the geographical location first was the secure location, that was the Magad capital city. Patliputra was a kind of water citadel. It was surrounded by 4 rivers. It was at the confluence of 4 rivers. So first was the strategic location which was securing the capital from any kind of external attack. And what was the next thing? Next geographical factor was, as it was located on the confluence of 5 rivers, so it was providing a good means of transport and communication, and from that system it was very easy for the Magadhan Empire to mobilize its armed forces, to collect the taxes, to bring back the tax collection to the capital city itself. So such kind of facilities was being provided by the river transportation system. So again it was a geographical location which was the factor. Third factor was that as it was having the location in the flood-prone regions, in the plains, northern plains, so this region was having a great harvest in the agriculture. Agricultural produce was very good, and because of that, great amount of revenue was coming to the empire, and which was being used by the administration to maintain a large standing army, and out of that they were able to defeat various states, and that is why the might of Magadhan Empire goes on increasing. Next is development of trade economy. During that period, the trade economy had started to develop, and the tax was being imposed on the trade also, and that is why they were able to generate a good amount of revenue out of trade also, and that is why they were able to maintain a large standing army. Next is availability of the elephant. So in the hill regions of Chota Nagpur Plateau regions, in these forest regions, there was availability of large number of elephants, and these elephants was being used in the army also, they were used for the transport also, and that is why they were capable of defeating various empires. And last but not the least, able rulers. Even if you have all these factors at a place, but if you don't have a good leadership, if you don't know how to use it, then you will not be in position to dominate. And that was the situation with Magad Empire also. Magad Empire was having a good leadership time and again. Whether we talk about Bimbisar, whether we talk about Ajatasattu, whether we talk about Sung, Sisunaga, whether we talk about that of Dhananand, Mahananda, all those rulers were great leaders, and that is why they were capable of dominating the whole region, the whole subcontinent, right? And last but not the least, I would like to inform you all that the Civil Services Foundation course, General Studies, UPSC General Studies Foundation course for the Civil Services exam of 2023 has already been announced by the Computology IAS Academy. That is going to start on 28th of March 2022. This is going to be a morning batch in which the complete prelims comes main syllabus will be covered, and this is going to be an offline batch. Here you will be provided with personal mentoring and hand holding till the end, and for further inquiries or any type of confusion if you have, and if you want to ask some questions, then you can get in touch with us on these mobile numbers and WhatsApp numbers. This is our landline number, and if you want to know about the queries through mail, then the mail ID is provided in the description below. And do follow us on our social media handles. This is the Facebook and the Instagram handle. This is our Telegram channel, and if you want the detailed syllabus and the timeline for the syllabus of the completion of the syllabus of the course, then go on to our website and you can download the PDF over there, and do subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new videos. Thank you very much and have a nice day.